talk about NASCAR and TNT. I know I'm a little late to the party, but seeing how Dale Jr. also talked about it recently, and he has a little more insight than I think anyone does, I think that it still is applicable to talk about how it's been rough for TNT over the last 2 weeks. Now, Atlanta was a little shoddy, I'll give you that. And while I was a little more critical, I think, than most, a lot of people seemed to like it decently enough. It served its purpose, had some pretty cool intros and other things like that to it, and it had to deal with a 2-hour rain delay as well as a bunch of red flags. So I understand giving them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Well, Chicago was where I think the luster or the nostalgia or whatever you want to call it wore off. And even like my friend Eric Estep said, it was really kind of like Fox levels. And I don't just mean when it comes to quality in general, I also mean to sound levels too. Actually, probably worse with the sound because it just simply was muted. I remember watching this race last year, and one of the things that I remember about it was how visceral the sounds were on NBC compared to this year where I was at my parents' and I was watching it with them thinking that maybe their TV settings were off. They weren't. The sound levels just were. As well as the fact that the ticker did not work for the exception of pretty much every time they crossed the start-finish line, and to me that's kind of a ticker that's at the level of a 2008 one. I remember Fox back in the day when they were starting to have the moving ticker when it came to drivers passing, and they updated a lot quicker, I think, than TNT did at the Chicago street course. Now, again, street courses are totally different beasts, and you add on top of that that TNT has never done a race here, and I can kind of get that. But there was also some other stuff. They missed a lot when it came to the action on Sunday. For instance, the Cody Ware crash that could have completely ended the day or brought us to overtime. Completely missed that one. As well as NASCAR, so I guess there could be a little pass there, but still, there should be cameras at the end of a straightaway, and if there's not, then that is something that is definitely a TNT problem. 23 and 48, those two cars beating the hell out of each other. Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman, good old-fashioned stock car racing. And when it came to a crescendo, when we saw the 23 go around, we didn't see the 23 go around because, well, they simply didn't show it. We saw every single part of this battle for a good lap or two. We saw them beat and bang, nearly turn each other, go back and forth, have a big pack of cars behind them. But when the moment of truth came up, when they needed to show it, the most action-packed piece of the day, they completely whiffed on it. To me, that is something that is completely unacceptable. When we all could see it coming, we all knew it, and the next shot we see is this. Can't let that happen. And you also have to add in some of the other things as well. At the end of this race, when the caution came out, when the race ended, as soon as Shane Van Gisbergen was known to win, when he was doing his victory burnout, they go to a side-by-side commercial break. Absolutely unacceptable, and in my opinion is almost worse, maybe is worse, than when Fox went to commercial twice in the last 14 laps at Talladega earlier this year. And you also add other things that can be a little nitpicky, and something similar to Prime with the ticker being too small. It was hard as hell to read it, and that was with both races as well as all 5 of Prime. Those are things that need to be fixed, as well as, and maybe this is just my preference, so I will at least acknowledge that, there was a little bit too much about the in-season tournament during it. We have an alt cast that completely covers this, from green to checkered flag. I think we need to leave it there and focus more on the racing. Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the co-commentator, driver analyst, all of that stuff for TNT, did address some of the critiques on the Dale Jr. download this week. And I'll cover some of the more basic ones, and I'll link that full podcast in the description below. It's a good listen. First off, he explained that TNT is their own group. I think this was more or less because a lot of people said they seemed like Fox, and I think that might have been maybe missing part of the point that people were saying. But yeah, TNT is their own group. So I think that also part of what he covers here is they are pretty new to this. It is 10 years since we had a NASCAR race on TNT back in 2014. And even then, in the years of 2007 through 2014, TNT covered a grand total of 7 racetracks in NASCAR. Pocono, Michigan, Sonoma, New Hampshire, Daytona, Chicagoland, and Kentucky. 2 of those tracks currently aren't on the schedule right now. And 3 of those lost a date, and only 1 of those they will cover this year was Sonoma. So there is a big amount of change for any of them that stayed, as well as for those who are new. I'll give them at least that, and I think that's a good way to put it. Junior also brings up that Atlanta and Chicago are 2 of the toughest tracks to broadcast in NASCAR, and I can see why. Atlanta has 1.5 mile cameras, and while they ran faster back in the day, going around 200 miles into turn 1, well, they are now a pack, and you have to cover that pack, and that pack goes quicker than the entirety of the pack would back in the day, say in 2004, 9, 14, 19, you name it. Completely get that one. And to be fair, again, it was an okay broadcast, just as Junior said, and he said, well, we'll get better in Chicago. That didn't happen, but he also said they underestimated Chicago. For instance, saying they couldn't use aerial shots, which to a degree they couldn't. There's a lot of cover in certain areas of the track, but NBC, I remember doing aerial shots, and they were quite picturesque. So I don't know if necessarily that is one of the main reasons we can say that TNT didn't do as well. But to be fair, he acknowledged the missed shots, acknowledged that the team is aware of it and that they're not happy with it either, and also brought up that they're basically a remote off-the-track booth as they're in a trailer a block away from the track. These things, again, are good things to acknowledge, but I want to know how they can fix them moving forward. For instance, all right, you acknowledge the problems that the broadcast had. Straight up, good for you. I am actually applauding that. I'm not trying to be a smartass in any way about that. We have said things like this about Fox Sports for years. I can remember all the way back when I started on YouTube in 2018, bringing up the same problems that Fox Sports has today, all the way back then. And not really any of them have been covered. We have been talking about the same talking points with Fox Sports now for a good near decade, maybe a decade, depending on some people, and nothing's changed. Whereas, at least with TNT, at least with Dale Jr., they have the cojones to actually stand up in front of the world with Dale Jr., acknowledge they did things wrong, and now it's about fixing them. Now, if they go ahead and don't fix them, yeah, I think we all have the right to be pretty pissed. I get that. But you also have to look forward here too. They have 3 more races left, and I do think that because these are more known commodities that haven't changed over time, the broadcast, I would think, should at least improve to be passable. At the worst, they should be. Sonoma? TNT's covered Sonoma before. They should have it in the catalog somewhere. Oh, great. Here's how we make a good broadcast at Sonoma. We did so from 2007 to 2014. We can do it again. Also, Dover, another one. That track hasn't changed in my lifetime. You should be fine. And then the Brickyard, yeah, the Brickyard should be something they should be able to do as well. Listen, I'm not saying that I would know in any way how to do any of these things. I'm a YouTuber that does medial editing, and it probably is ironic to hear me, of all people, complaining about this stuff. But these are professionals, and I'm a customer when you look at the brass tacks of things. And as a customer, I'm just not happy, and I hope they improve. I thought that they had about a C grade at Atlanta, and I give them about a D at Chicago. Now it's time to bring that weighted average back up. So with that, I want to know what you think. What would you give TNT Chicago broadcast? A grade? Would you give it an A, B, C, D, F, or maybe an I for incomplete? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.